Good afternoon. Right, I've been promising you this project for ages, so we're going to do it today. Okay. I finally got around to stitching my top one. Right. Okay. What is it? Well, it's going to be a pincushion. I made this one years ago. It's a scrappy project. I did it all on the machine, and I put a stiff piece of, I don't know if it was card or pelmet violin. I tend to use pelmet violin for my clips to go on. And it's fine, it does the job, but I thought, do you know what, you were a bit messy when you sewed this, so I'm going to make myself another one. Yeah, so as I say, this was all done on the machine. This is English paper pieced, so I'm going to talk you through the patterns first because it's important that you know who. So my inspiration was this one. This is from fabricandflowers.co.uk. It's a clip and pin cushion. I think you have to buy this pattern, but if you're like me, you can see something and go, I know how to make that, and you just go from there. If you're a pattern maker, I'm sorry. But yeah, so I like this idea. I don't need that many clip things. I tend to keep my clips. I made this one ages ago as well, and again, it's not good. It's already showing marks and things like that. And I tend to keep my clips in a pot type thing. This is lovely. I did some lovely stitching on it with the flowers and everything, but it's not fit for purpose. It's not doing what I need it to do. So I'm going to make a fabric pot for my clips to go into, and then I need a pin cushion to put my pins in when I'm sewing. This is my I keep this at the side of my sewing machine. So yeah, right, so that's that. So to that avail, I need a soft-sided pin cushion, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. But yeah, so anyway, this is what I need. So I hope I'm making sense. I'm probably not. Now, Kate at the last Homely House, she pointed us in the direction of this blogspot. I'll put all this down below, don't worry. So it's wildoliveblogspot.com, mollyjohansson.com. I don't know what that is, but basically you can go on there and download this template. Now it is to make the plus quilt, because if you imagine you've got 4 of those, 1 2 3 4, it makes a plus. Yeah, that's what it's for. But when I saw it, and in particular, when I saw it like that, I thought it would make a lovely English paper pieced top for a pin cushion. We're getting there. Hang on. So, as I say, I'll put all this down below for you. So, I have made a variety of these. I've done one in obviously grey and white with paper templates. Now, when you cut these out, be very accurate, okay, because you do need them to be exactly the same size. When Kate done hers, she used a knife and a ruler, which is fine. I can't remember what I did. Did I do it with scissors? I think I did it with scissors, but very carefully. All right, so they're the right size. Yeah, so you can do that. And for me, I mean, this is going to be quite big. I mean, you won't see these bits obviously, but that was quite big. So I shrunk the, I shrunk the template. I can't remember what I shrunk it by. I think it was 50%. It looks about 50% smaller. Let me measure these for you. So this is about 1 inch by, my ruler is so faded, by 1.5. So it's 1 inch by 1.5 inches. So just play around with your settings on your printer and try 50%. That might be too small for you, but then you would get a really intricate English paper pieced top, if you like. Yeah, so I've done that one. And this was truly a scrap project. These were all bits left over from other projects that I've done. Yeah. But again, I've done 3 rows, if you like. So I've done a couple of those in that size. Okay, sorry, am I even in screen? I'm probably not, yeah. yeah, I like those, but Debbie gave me the brilliant idea. Thank you, Debbie, of turning one of the, she said they look like little houses, and I went, oh, now there's an idea. So I've turned one of them into a little house. As you can see, it's here. I didn't use this one because I stitched this on pelmet violin, and it is so stiff to get through that I thought when I come to put my pins in, it's going to be a blooming nightmare. So I'll just keep that one. I'll use it for something else. And what I did with mine, I cut the shapes. I used the template to actually cut the shapes out of fusible webbing, batting. Yeah, and I used the fusible batting. It was just stiff enough that I could wrap the fabric round and make the shapes, basically. So I've done 2 rows, as you can see. One's my little house. They've still got the basting stitches in, because you do need to baste it on whether you like it or not, but they pull out easy enough. But I didn't want to go too mad because I didn't want all the sides coming undone, because it's only sticky on the front, this batting. But the difference is I can actually, oh, can I? Yeah, I can get a pin through there. Mine, I need new pins. Mine are really dull at the moment. So, yeah, or I might actually just do the old stabbing through steel wool. So I might put a bit of that under there, actually, thinking about it. It tends to rust, though, so I don't really like using it. Anyway, I can stab through, no problem at all. So that's a bonus. So I did do the upstand bit. I'll run through measurements in a minute, don't worry. And for this, I did use a piece of pelmet violin, which is this incredibly thick, sturdy, but stitchable. You can see where I drew the lines around. I just took one of these and just drew it on the thing. Anyway, yeah, it's incredibly thick, but it's perfect because it will hold up and it will stand up and it will hold my clips. Okay. So that was that. So I've had all these design things going on, and it's like, oh, what do I need it to do? How do I want it to be? You know, go through all that. If you just want, well, you would want to be able to put pins in. So I would recommend just using, you could just use ordinary quilting batting and not have the fusible side of it. It's up to you what you use. I'm just telling you what I did. So let's put all those back in there so I shall lose them. Yeah, so that is on paper. So, yeah, anyway, right, let's not digress. So I've got to here so far. Now, for me, the house isn't standing out enough, so I want to go round, and it's all hand stitched, by the way. Not very well. I did not do a particularly good job. I used grey thread, but I can see it. So what I might do is my old trick with permanent marker pens, and just gently go through there and just get rid of some of these. I can see some of the stitches, which I don't like at all. And yet I did them really closely together. You know, I didn't space them right out. So anyway, yeah, so I need to outline this. I'm thinking white, and I think I'll just do simple running stitch all the way around onto the one next to it so that it really highlights as a little house. It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do with it, really. You can sew, you know, you can do a lot of decorative hand stitching on here. You could go around and literally outline all of these. It's your project. Do what you like with it. Okay, so I've got it this far so far, if that makes sense. It didn't take long to do, to be fair. Once you've got your bits of fabric on, it's just a case of basting it on and then placing the shapes right sides together and stitch in the seams. That's all you got to do. All right, I think we all know how to do English paper piecing. If you're new, there is tons of videos out there on how to do English paper piecing. I don't need to bore you to death with that bit. For the pelmet violin, I did cut it to the same length as my top here. This was all kind of, you know, done on the spur of the moment, if you like. And then I got a piece of pelmet violin. I think it was bigger than that. It was. The exact measurements are, oh, excuse me, oh, sorry, 3/4 of an inch tall. So the pelmet violin needs to be that exact length, but then make your fabric a good quarter of an inch longer, so that you can cover the pelmet violin tuck in your ends. I sewed the ends down, and then stitch it this way so that they're right sides together, and that way it wants to stand up. All right, I think if you stitch, well, you wouldn't do it the other way anyway if you got any sense, but yeah, so stitch it that way, stitch it on, done. Okay, right. Yeah, so as I say, there is quite a difference. If you shrink the pattern down, you'll get a more intricate top. It's completely up to you. You know, I might take some of these off and make some smaller ones. I want a little one for when I'm downstairs doing my hand sewing downstairs, because although I've got this, the John James Pebble, I think if I had a little one of these, so that might be my next project after I've done these. So anyway, we digress. Let's get rid of that. Let's make a bit of room here. So for the sides, I will run through what my measurements were in a minute. Because I want to be able to stab pins in the side, because I was thinking I could make the sides out of card, fabric covered card, and then just stitch that to here, and you'd have a nice standy uppy pin cushion. This is not, this is just a squishy one. And then again, my design thought was, what do I actually want it to do? So when I'm sewing at the machine, I tend to stab a pin wherever I can put it in. So I think I want soft sides, and I'll just stuff it well so that it does, you know, maintain its shape like this one did. But again, this one's so thick, I do have trouble getting it through. Yeah. As I say, I haven't got the strongest pins in the world, but yeah, some of this is a bit thick. So yeah, so I've left the sides soft. I've got a 2.5 inch strip piece, which was the same fabric as here, and this is left over from when I did my laptop bag. So it's using all these scraps. So I left it at the 2.5 inches. Why have you moved? You were not there a minute ago. One wonky bit, I'll have to redo that. So I've just cut my batting to all the sizes that I need for the front and the back and the two sides. Okay, so what I need to do now is just chop this apart. I just laid it out and just ironed it all on. So what I need to do now is fold these edges over and lightly baste it all the way round. Once I've basted all the way round, I will then start stitching it onto here. And what I tend to do when I'm doing something like this, let me get you in screen, I tend to stitch it all on flat. Okay, get all the, so stitch that onto there, stitch that side onto there. Once it's tucked under, it is exactly the right length. Okay, do that, do the back, do this side, and then pick it all up. So I would stitch it like that basically, so it'd be there, and then pick it all up and then just sew the corners. All right, so that way you get a nice, I feel it's the quickest way to do it. I need to redo that bit, that's a pain. Okay, and then for my base, I've done exactly the same again. I've measured this top piece here, piece of batting for that. I am going to put a piece of card on top of this as well. Just trying to think, will I do that first? I might stitch it onto, so once they're all sewn on, once you've sewn your corners, you then sew your bottom on, like that one, and then I might slip a piece of card in because it just gives it a nice solid base then. So I think I did it on that one. Yeah, I did it on that one as well. There's a piece of card there, and you just stitch it on. But I'm going to do it all with you, don't worry. Let me give you my measurements. I had to sit and write it because, you know, so I left 1/4 inch seams roughly, very roughly. So my fabric pieces, I needed 2 pieces at 6 1/4 by 2.5, and that gave me the 1/4 inch seams, okay, seam allowances, just to be able to fold it over. And then I needed 2 bits at 4 1/4 by 6 1/4, and that was the sides. The clip stand, I needed 1, so it's 3/4 of an inch, yeah, by 5 3/4, so 3/4 of an inch by 5 3/4. And then the cover itself, I made it an inch, so I had 1/4 of an inch there, and then I added another 1/4 of an inch there, and I basically about, is it an eighth? Yes, it would be an eighth, wouldn't it? Yeah, an eighth of an inch. I just tucked it in and then just sewed the edges over so it looked neat. And then for the batting, I think I cut it exactly to size. Yeah, 5 and hang on, technical hitch. No, I cut it just a little bit short, 1/4 of an inch short. I can't remember why I did that. I think to leave enough room to get the stitching round and a bit of wiggle room. Anyway, just cut your pieces to size. So I'm going to sew that on, and then what else in the end? Then stuffing, you can use walnut shells, offcuts of fabric I'm going to use. And then the base was exactly the same size as that. I'm hoping this all makes sense. It probably doesn't, knowing me. But what I'm going to do now is, obviously I've stitched my top. So I'm going to baste my sides and my my long bits and my short bits, baste those all down, and then start stitching them onto there. But I think I'm going to put you on time lapse. Now I've found it, you see, I'm going to be lethal with that thing. And yeah, stitch all the sides on, and then I'll show you from there. Yeah, is there anything else I need to tell you? You could add lace on the sides if you wanted to. You could, you know, before you stitch your seams, you could have a bit of lacy edgy coming up here. It really, yeah, it really lends itself. I mean, if you don't want to hand stitch it, you can by all means machine stitch it all. But I just thought it'd be a nice little hand sewing project. So, and then obviously I put a window and a door on my little house, but it's kind of getting lost, so I really want to highlight that. So right, I'm going to pop you on time lapse while I baste all these onto their wadding. I have to cut another bit of that, redo that bit. Good job I got a piece extra. Yeah, and yeah, that's it really. So next video will be, well, the next bit will be me sped up, stitching this down, stitching it on, etc, etc. I'll see you in a bit. Quick confession before I put you on time lapse. I had cut these sides too short. I wondered why it wasn't lining up. Yeah, I cut them at whatever size it was. Yeah, I cut them at 5 1/4, and they should have been 5 3/4. Basically, you need them the same length as your top. All right, because when you fold it over, yeah, it all needs to be the same measurements. I wonder why it wasn't working. These are fine. I don't. I've obviously cut those right. Yeah, perfect they are. Right, so definitely going to put you on a bit of time lapse now, because I'm going to baste all these edges down and then start stitching these on. So oh, I didn't redo that one. I need to redo that. When you watch, actually I'll tell you what, I know it's going to be a bit, when you watch these time lapses, just bear in mind that for every second it's a minute. So if it runs for 29 seconds, I've actually been 29 minutes. So I'll give you a rough idea. I'll see if I can sort of judge it myself as well, and yeah, obviously you'll get an idea of how long it takes. So stop rambling, Susan. I'm going to recut this one, probably out of this actually, otherwise it'll be wasted. Maybe not. Yeah, okay, definitely time lapse next one. Okay. So as you probably saw, that took about 20 minutes. I say it's 20 seconds for you, but 20 minutes for me. So I'm just trying to decide. I want to pick this house out before I forget, basically, because you know what I'm like. I was thinking white, but I'm not 100% certain now. I don't think yellow's going to cut it. I wish the sun would come out. It'd be easier to see. Or maybe even like, have I got a pink? But I haven't. Got a red. In case you're wondering, this is an IKEA box. It's one of their new ones. Got that thing on the side, but it's great for these threads because it's a double decker. I think it might be red, you know. What else have I got? Got a green, got a pink. Sorry, I'm faffing, but you know, it's part of the course. No, I think the red. I'm going red. I could go blue, sorry. Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's not going to show up on there, is it? Nope, it's red. Right, okay. Stop faffing, Susan. Right. Yeah, that's a great box set. I'm so glad I found that. I might go and get another one at some point, because I do want to expand my library of these threads. This is the DMC Perlays. This is a number 8, I think. Yeah, number 8. Let's get more than I think I need. Right, I'll put a needle down somewhere. Can you see it? Yeah, as you probably saw, I really wanted to make the corners crisp, but you can, you know, when you're stitching it on, you can crisp them up a bit anyway. But oh, I've lost my needle. Gold. My friend's just texted me. She's her daughter's she's got her first grandchild basically, so she's a bit behind the rest of us. So love her. She's so excited, of course. I still remember the day Annie rang me to say Scarlett had been born. Oh dear. It was almost quite scary actually, because it's like, oh my lordy, I'm a grandma now. I've got to behave. So, I've got to be sensible. Oh, like that'll ever happen. Oh dear. Life. Never thought I'd be a grandma. I didn't really want to be a mum, I'll be honest with you. I wasn't really that interested in children. Ended up with 3, so you know, there it is. My youngest is a bit like me. She's like, oh no, I don't want kids. I was like, no, well, I was like you, love. And then I ended up having 3. So, and they would tell you it's the best thing that ever happened to me. Oh, hello. Okay, you're not going to play nicely. I have to do it the hard way. It's not a terribly thick batting either. I don't know why it's misbehaving. I'll try and get these as neat as possible. Come on, let's concentrate. You gonna let me cheat? Yeah. Yes, that first one, it's always special. So first grandchild. I know when my eldest was born, who is scarily 40 this year, she'll hate me for telling you all that. She was the first grandchild and the first great grandchild, so she was even more special, bless her. I think they're great because you can give them back. You keep them for a couple of hours or a couple of days, and it's like, right, home to mummy now, off you go. Yeah. I'm worried about my craft room stash now, because they're really getting into sewing, the pair of them, if you've seen the 2 videos. I hope you don't mind me putting them up. It's Scarlett in particular. Oh, she loves anything like that. She's so funny. She's mildly autistic. I don't know if that came over in the video I did with her. I didn't want to say anything on the video or put it in any of the description because she will read it, but I don't think she'll watch this one. But Yeah, she's the one we're trying to get into a specialist school. She needs that. So yeah. They both did very well actually, so I was very pleased with them. I was about their age when I started, so I remember my grand's hand crank sewing machine, so she just gave me a great big bag of scraps, and that was it. I was off. I don't think I've stopped sewing since. I didn't do much when I had the 3 of them. I used to sew more when it was just me and Kathy, the eldest one, because she was 7 before I had the second one, so I kept sending her father away. He was in the Navy. It was like, yeah, I really need you home. Another baby, please. Took a while, but we got there. I'm going to take that out. I don't want to stitch over that right now. This is a lovely sit in front of the TV and stitch all your bits together, and then, you know, I'm going to work out. I think it's only going to take, I don't know, maybe an hour, hour and a half to get this finished now. So, oh, my pliers are downstairs. Yeah, so it's a nice simple little project. And like I said, you know, you can fancy it up however you want and put lace on it, do a load of embroidery. You know, I could go in and pick out these flowers. I'm not going to. I don't really want it that super fancy for me. So I just like making these things, and if it's an accessory for my craft room, even better. So the other thing I've got to do is make myself one of those thread catcher pot things, you know, that hang by your sewing machine. Although I keep a bin next to me, I tend to just dump them on the side. So I'm thinking if I've got a little thread catcher thing at the side of the machine, it might be better. But I've also got to make a pot for my clips as well. So I'll probably do that by hand actually. I have got a cracking book that shows you. I think that's a little bit better. I think it stands out a bit more. I could... Do I want to go that far? Sorry, I'm just thinking I could wrap that as well. I'm going to do it. Sorry, stay there. Yes, what was I saying? I've got a really good book on making handmade boxes, although there's no rocket science attached, but yeah, you've got some lovely designs in there. And as I said, when you if you want a stiff-edged, you know, really stiff-edged needle case, you could substitute this for card and just glue the card on, and then actually, you know, becomes part of the box obviously, and then you just stitch the edges. I've done that. I think I did that on my Steph Francis box. I can't blooming remember now, honestly. My memory is absolutely shot, it really is. I went to I've told you my middle one's training to be a hairdresser, and she's already done year 1. Then she got a proper job, as it were, but it wasn't fulfilling her. And I said, look, yeah, this apprentice came up. She's a bit old to be an apprentice, but anyway. So she's doing this thing, and I said to her, right, Annie, I really need a haircut. You're going to have to book me in. And she just sort of came back. She went, 4 o'clock today, and I was like, oh, yeah, lovely. So went to the hairdressers, and she said to me, oh, you'll remember the lady because she used to cut our hair. do I remember her? No, I really don't. So I said to her, I apologise. I've kind of self-analysed myself. I think I went through a lot of trauma when my mum died super suddenly, and I mean super suddenly. And I think I've lost a chunk of memories, and it's frustrating because the girl's like, yeah, you must remember because we did that, and I'm like, I just don't remember. I'm so sorry. And you know, it's amazing, isn't it, what stress and trauma does to the brain. It's gone. I've lost chunks of memory of the past. So but yeah, it was so traumatic. So anyway, we won't go there. Yes, so that's that. So yes, I had my hair, had about 1 inch taken off. I've got, well, if you've seen me live, you've probably seen it, massive curly hair. And if you're of a certain age, you'll remember Crystal Tips and Alistair. Yeah, I'm Crystal Tips. You know, it doesn't grow down, it goes out sideways. And when Annie was washing my hair, she went, Mum, how long is your hair? And I went, I know. It is literally down the middle of my back. But because it's so severely curly, it boings up to my shoulders. It's super long. You'd be amazed at how long my hair is. And she's like, I can't believe your hair's that long. It's just what she kept saying. So I said, yeah, it is. It is. She went, yeah, but I can't believe it. I went, what, it is. Okay, get over it. Yeah, it's weird. I think it's getting curlier as well as I get older, which is bizarre, but there you go. I ought to get me GHDs on it. I used to straighten it a lot, but not anymore. Right, that's a little bit better, isn't it? Yeah, that's better. Once all these white threads are out, I think a lot smarter. And I definitely want to go in and colour those. I haven't got a dark blue. Let's see if I can alter it slightly with this one. No, it needs a dark blue. Right, I'll have to find me dark blue one. Get that on there. Right. Okay, right, so it's going to be another bit of time lapse, I'm afraid. I'm going to stitch these on now. I want to do the whole thing in one video, so it's probably going to be a long video, so I'm apologising now. But I've been promising you this for ages, and I thought it's a cracking hand stitching project that anyone can do. This fabric, by the way, if you're wondering, it's a Rose and Hubble, so, and it's really thick. And it's screen printed with gold. I don't know if it's coming up on screen, but yeah, it's very pretty. Now, I must say, if you do one of these, just do it scrappy. I did this one scrappy, and I love it scrappy, but I thought for the purposes of showing you what I'm doing, it's better if you see which bits are which. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, but by all means, this was just scraps all stitched together and I just wrapped it around. I really made it badly. You can see here, it's all puckered and stuff, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun to do it scrappy, so do it scrappy. I'm just going to get some blue thread. I'll be back with you in a sec. Right, well, I haven't got a navy blue. I thought I had one. So I've got this really dark purple, so I'm hoping that won't show up when I stitch. If we do stitches properly, Susan, it won't show up at all, but you know, let's see where that goes, shall we? I really want that sharp little one that I was using. Where's that gone? It can't have gone far. Do you do this? Please tell me it's not just me. Did I put it away? Right. Oh well, we'll make do. I've got to have a bigger one because I knew I was going to sew a thicker thread, but are you under here? No. Okay, well, we'll just, it'll turn up. Probably in my foot. Right, I'm expecting a parcel, so if you hear the doorbell go, I'll have to run up and get that, but I'll show you those goodies when they arrive. It's not terribly exciting. Well, I don't know what it's going to be actually. It was one of those, you pay the postage and we send you some free fabric. Thank you very much. Because I haven't got enough in this blooming room already, of course, you know. Right, I'll do this short one with you, and then I will do the old time lapse thing. You'll have to let me know if that drives you absolutely bonkers. Time lapse, let me know, and I will stop doing it. But it's a way of me being able to do what is quite a lengthy project in quick time for you, if that makes sense, because otherwise when you add it all up this will probably be about an hour and a half long. But then some people don't mind that. Oh, I don't know, it's hard to know what to do for the best sometimes. So when I start, I always start away from the corner and then go back. This is just my way, it's probably not the right way at all. Because I'm leaning on my wrists. I'm just going to move you forward so I can get right forward. Bear with me. Right, stay. What's that about? Yeah, that's about right. Okay. Otherwise, I'm leaning on my nerves in my arm, and it doesn't half make me twitch. Oh, stop twitching, stupid nerves. Double up on the thread if you haven't got a very strong one. This is a really strong one, so I'm not worried about the strength of the single thread, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Probably not. You just need to take a couple of threads from each side. Because this is the edges, I am going to go quite close with my stitching because I want it to be quite strong. I don't even know if you can even see anything. Come on, behave. I've got my fabrics ready for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, but I'm just waiting for them to dry. Stop jittering. Oh. When I did my craft room shift around, I really hoped I would get a little cozy corner that I could get my rocking chair in, but I just got too much stuff. So I didn't end up with it, sadly. I hope you make one. I hope you like it. I hope you like the idea behind it anyway. It's a good way of using up all those weird little bits that you've got. And as I said to you just now, the scrappier the better. But I thought if I make it too scrappy, which is usually my style, it might confuse the heck out of you. So as to what I was doing. But it doesn't take long. I'm one of the most impatient people on the planet, so if I can sit and do it, anyone can do it, I can assure you. So take your time. Just going to double over on that bit because we're joining the the two bits together. Yeah, check out the pattern. As I say, the idea of it is that you make the plus quilt. I just saw this. I thought, oh, I wonder what it'll look like, and that was it. I was off. So do give it a go if you fancy one, because not everybody likes sewing on a machine. So this can be very therapeutic. I'm waiting for the next payday, and I'm going to treat myself to a small box of Aurifil threads. And Kate at the Last Homely House has got a box in the colours that she likes, and I really like those colours too, so I might, that's a big might, treat myself. We'll see. I'll see if the car needs anything first. There's always something, isn't there? Always something. Bit of real-time stitching for you. Yeah. I was just looking at where I put the little ones. So I had fun with those because I order quite a lot of fabric samples from places, and they send you like an A4 piece, like a piece of copier paper size, and they're incredibly useful for anything like this. And you know, they're not usually that expensive. You can get them on eBay. A lot of companies on eBay do them, and this let me just grab the actual fabric. Yeah, this one was lovely. I love all those patterns. I don't know where I got it from, mind. I'll have to search my... But I just thought, you know, to cut those out would be great. And that's some of these are in here. Those there. And I've also done some Suffolk puffs. You know, yeah, look really nice. I love fabric like that. All different colours and shapes and what have yous on it. So... yeah, just and they, you know, something ridiculous like 99p, you know. Well, you don't need a lot of fabric for one of these, that's for sure. So even if you're starting out, that is a really easy, I think, cheap way of getting a load of scraps. Or just check out what clothing you got. This was an old blouse, this piece, and I love the fabric so much. It's a beautiful soft cotton that I kept the blouse and just, you know, I've just been cutting it up. So yeah, I mean, I've made projects from tea towels and old pillowcases, and yeah, it's a real make do and mend. I you know, both my grandmothers were make do and menders. My maternal grandma in particular was the seamstress, the sewer, and the other one was more the one that I've taken after as well. She was more, what would you say, sort of cooking frugal, you know, food frugal. So because my dad often sort of says, you know, during World War II, you know, they lived in London, and he said you just couldn't get food sometimes. It was as simple as, and he said, you know, he said, I remember one night all we had for dinner was Swede and custard, because that's all they had. And it's only because my granddad had an allotment that they had the Swede. So, you know, all the kids today, they don't know they're born, do they? Yeah. Yeah, let me know if the time lapse drives you insane. You can slow it down, use the gear thing at the bottom of the box. I think Eric, was it Erica? Yeah, I think it was you, wasn't it, my love? You said about the flip and stitch. Could you slow it down or do it in real time? And I said, well, just use the cog gear thing at the bottom of the screen, because you can slow down. I'm pretty sure you can even slow down, you know, when somebody's done time lapse. So there we are. So that's it sewn on, and yeah, it will fold over like that. So the next bit, I'm just going to fold this way and put on the long piece, so that when that is stitched on, it'll go over like that. Okay, time lapse. You ready? Hold on to your britches. I was about to turn the corner and just go for it, but I thought no, I need to, just in case you don't know. So right, so there we are, one splat box. So it's splatted. So all we've got to do now is stitch the corners together. I've been thinking while I was stitching, should I stitch the bottom on now? At least on 3 sides, but I need to get this, the 3 edges rather. I need to get these corners done. I think I'll stitch it on after. It's going to be easier. Right, so I've still got a bit of thread here. So it's the same, exactly the same again. Just manipulate your fabric until it's in a position. There's, you might have noticed on the thing there, I had to sort of ease some of the, they're never 100% spot on. Maybe it's probably my cutting more than anything, so just going to make sure that these corners are well stitched. I had to use my pliers at some points, particularly when I was stitching along here. I kept just catching the, yeah, you can see it there, damn. I just kept catching the pelmet filing. I thought I'd gone small enough with the stitches, but oh well. It is what it is, guys. It is what it is. Do not fret over it. If you're just starting out on this, you are going to see some of your stitches. It takes years and years of practice to get it that you just literally pick up 2 threads. I am struggling with the light here. I don't know if you noticed. I had to get my daylight bulb out because although I've got my ring light up there, which I normally use, it's just not quite bright enough, especially when you're working with dark fabrics. So I have been struggling a bit to see exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, I tend to go in a little bit too far. It's only 1 millimetre, but it's literally just need to pick up a couple of threads. But I'm honing my skills. That's what I'm going to tell you. This Rose and Hubble is really a really thick cotton. I think it's the metallic that makes it so thick. But it's pretty. Yeah, I don't know how long that took to stitch those rounds, but I'll say for every second it's one of my minutes, so I think it said 30. I forgot to check it but not before I stopped it, so apologies for that. Ow. I'll just do this one and then I'll stop filming and I'll come back to you when I've got all the corners stitched. Shouldn't take that long. And I've got on the bottom three edges, and then you can stuff it from the other edge basically before you stitch it all up. I'll show you what I mean when I get there. I'm hoping it's going to look good. There's hope and then there's fact. Doesn't always go to plan, does it, Susan? No. I love doing hand sewing because my mind has completely drifted. I'm not talking very much. I'm analysing in my head. It's a scary place to be. I'm a bit worried about this thread, it's snapping really easily. It's a viscose rayon. Oh well, we'll find out when it all starts falling apart. So there we are, yeah, you can just, darn, went a bit too deep there. Okay, well, never mind, it's handmade. So yeah, that'll be your corners basically. So I'm going to stitch the rest. And then, as I say, stitch the bottom on 3 sides, and I think I'll, although I might leave the back open actually, and that gives you plenty of room to get loads of stuff in there, and I want to get that bit of card in there as well. So right, I'll stitch the corners, stitch the base, and I'll come back to you. I won't be long. Right, last bit. Are you ready? Oh, right, okie dokie. So I've stitched all the sides and the corners, and I've decided to make a feature of the bottom with red perlé basically. So I'm at the point where I need to stuff now. I've left the whole back bit open, as you can see there. So beside me here I've got a piece of mount board which I'm going to put on the bottom. It just makes it nice and, in my mind, nice and sturdy. I want to stuff it, and then I want to get this on top. I bet I'm not going to be able to do it. We'll see. Oi, oi, oi. This could all go wrong. So I've cut everything a little bit smaller. Obviously you'd have taken your papers out by now if you, I stitched on fusible interfacing stuff, but if you've used paper templates, take them out when you've stitched all your sides on. I think that's pretty logical, but just in case you're new to this, yeah, you need to take all your papers out, or you can leave them in, it's up to you. I don't mind. I haven't taken my strings out yet, actually, the basting stitches, so I need to do that as well. This is the innards out of an old cushion. I did not buy stuffing for this. I rarely do. When my old pillows have started to lose their oomph, I always strip them out if there's any decent stuffing in there basically. So I tend to keep that. It's amazing how much you need. Right, ooh, it's like a big stuffed cushion now. Right, okay, I think that's plenty. So if I can, I want to try and get this on top. Now the reason for that is, I find with this polyester stuffing, it wants to pull through when you put your needles in. This is a really cack-handy way of doing it, but I don't know how else to do it. So if I just tuck that in there, and tuck you in there. It's a faff, but right, I think it's in. Looks good enough. Just even that all out again. Right, and then it's just a case of sewing it back up. So I won't do that with you. I am going to pull these strings out though. So anyway, let me know what you think. Is it something you enjoyed? Yeah, just give me your thoughts on it. If you don't want me to do these sort of tutorials, I can do other stuff. But I just thought I'd do a bit of hand stitching because it's been quite popular when I've done a hand stitching one, and You know, not everybody's got a sewing machine, so right, these do not want to play, do they? I've decided I'm going to get myself some new pins because every one that I've picked up so far has been rubbish. So if anybody's got any recommendations on a really good brand of pins, sewing pins, let me know. I tend to be a right cheapskate and just get the real cheap ones, and that's, you know, it comes back and bites you in the backside, doesn't it, if you buy cheap? Buy cheap, buy twice. It was my mum's mantra. So she was dead on. Aren't they always, mothers? Yeah. So it just takes on a whole different character once you've got all these bits out, I feel, anyway. Come out. I didn't put knots on, so I don't know why it's, well, apart from the starting edge, I suppose. I hope the lighting's alright. It's just, it's gone. It's only 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It is so dark out there. It's miserable. And yet yesterday, it was glorious. I was walking around in a t-shirt yesterday. Today, I'm sat with a sweater on. Well, it's my manky old sweatshirt that I use when I'm doing crafting, basically. Because I don't care if I get paint spilled on it. And I'm absolutely freezing, so I'm going to go and put my hoodie on in a moment. It's been the best thing I've ever bought. Nice and warm. Well, it's not a hoodie brand, it's a Amazon fake hoodie, but it does the job. Come on. Gotcha. One way or the other, you're coming out. Yeah, it's cool, isn't it? I like it anyway. I don't know what you feel. You might think it's a load of hoo-ha. Don't want to take that bottom bit out just yet, so we'll just cut there. These bits can come all the way out. Yeah, I just did blanket stitch around the edge there. Yeah, it's holding it nicely. I thought I'd just do a bit of a decorative edge there. Don't know why, just thought I would. Just felt like it. You do you. I'll say you can whip this all up, especially this last bit. You can do it on the sewing machine if you don't want to sit and hand sew. It's not everyone's idea of fun, but I think it's taken about 3 or 4 hours to do this. I think that's not including the top. So if you ever see hand stitched products and wonder why they're so expensive, that's why. It's not the materials, it's the time. One more, and I'm going to let you go. I'll finish off the bottom, and I'm hoping I'll remember to do a thumbnail with the finished pin cushion as the main picture. Something strangely satisfying about doing this part. So it can all come out down to there. Yeah, putting that bit of board in there just gives it a nice solid bottom, which is something we'd all like, isn't it? Well, me. Right, okay. So yeah, it's just a case of sewing up that last seam now. as I say, I'll put a thumbnail at the end to let you see what it looks like when it's all done. So there we are. One housey pin cushion. It's quite deep. It's about 2 inches, which is plenty, more than enough. I mean, really, you don't really need that much, I'll be honest with you, but yeah, 2 inches. Some of my, although I'm going to get new pins, but some of my pins are quite long like that, so it needs to be quite long to accommodate those. Yeah, kind of goes right through. So there we are, housey, all done. And I just need to do the other 4 now that I've got ready. All right, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.